Yeah, this is Troy Casey. It's a blessing to be here with his brother, flowing in the zone, seeing what comes through. This brother's barefoot, by the way, right now, just so you can get a full like context for this scene.
And these rocks are real.
These rocks are real.
Well, I've trained myself to deal with the pain, right? To make the pain medicine.
Yeah. So one of the things, like Troy and I dropped in, we've been dropping in deep.
Come on over here.
Okay, yeah, let's do this.
Sunlight-wise.
Yeah, true. So basically, over the last year, I've been coming to Sedona ever since a very dear brother of mine passed away on these rocks.
Really?
Yeah,
Who?
Jordan Brashears. And that's why we all came down to honor him and collect his ashes, and a lot of ceremony happened here. That was October 8th last year. That was the first time I met Troy. I think it was at Ecstatic Dance or something like that, and then just kept seeing him at the Chocolate Tree, other places.
Sham's
place, and we've been, the orbits have like come together. As soon as I saw him, I'm like, this is a powerful mirror. This guy is in his deep divine masculine to an intense point that was almost triggering.
Actually, I like to reframe that.
Yeah,
as,
please.
Not so much the divine masculine, but basically my divine authenticity.
Authenticity, thank you. He's just like so fucking unapologetic.
I just so happen to have tons of testosterone coursing through my veins in this existence.
Yeah, it's felt, it's seen. And, I think that's all. I was just like in awe of this brother because he's just like powerful. And he's what, 55? Is that how old are you?
55, yes.
Yeah, what the fuck? Like, and also I imagine I'll be this way one day too. Like people have always commented, and I'm 38, I'm still staying.
I thought he was in his 20s.
Yeah, so a lot of that comes from just being curious and moving the body. Yep. Just constantly curious,
open. That's a sign of youth, how open you are. That's a sign of intelligence as well, because we all get thrashed around, and, if we become jaded, shut down, that can be, that can be harmful. So we all have wounds, and the more we can open up in the face of those wounds and not be jaded, right? Not blame the other, have entitlement towards our victim conscious. I'm so entitled to be offended by. Look, life is throwing us curveballs contiguously.
It's true.
So the more we can forgive and let go, and I wrote about this in my book, The Relationship Pillar. Relationships are critical. If a baby is not touched as a child, the baby dies. So relationships are critical for our survival. And so
and that goes
forgiving is critical for our forward movement.
Right, and healing. And and if everyone's been through trauma of some kind that can close down aspects of themselves. And I guess there's a lot to talk about in this realm, and I'd love to with Troy, because I know
we're going to be solution oriented.
We're going to get solution oriented. Yeah, thank you. So Troy, I want to Troy has 4 pillars. When we look into the far distant future as visionaries, right?
I have 4 major solutions for saving, quote unquote, saving the planet, because I work
evolving the planet, returning it to a state of harmony.
Ascension, yes, balance and harmony.
Okay, so let's hear those 4.
So it's free energy, Tesla technology, cold fusion. I don't care how it rolls out. It's already been in the mind of man. If you use alchemy, love, truth, and wisdom, wordsmithing, you call forth exactly what you want to see, whether it's Steve Jobs and a handheld computer in everyone's hand, or the Wright brothers wanting to fly like an eagle. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. So free energy, let's usher it in. It's already been in the template of man. Through Tesla, through cold fusion.
Free energy,
gift economy. Brothers and sisters have their natural genius, their effortless genius in that which they love to do.
My God, we can do this.
And they're good at, right?
Yes.
Some people like to sing, some people like to plant food, some people like to cook food, some people like to teach, some people like to take care of children, some people like to teach children, some people like to make babies like me. So bottom line is, we all have our innate gifts. I'm an orator, right? That is my gift. I can give it freely. It takes effort. It's effortless. So everyone,
I feel you.
And Michael Tellinger has the Ubuntu movement, which means contributionism in the Zulu tribe. And so he's flushed out a lot of these ideas already. You can watch the YouTube video, A World Beyond Money. And you can also cross-reference it with Peter Diamandis, who's a very wealthy billionaire in business with Elon Musk. etc. He talks about a world beyond capitalism, and you can watch that on YouTube. Singularity University is Peter Diamandis.
They're doing some incredible things there. Yeah.
So it's already happening. The debt slave economy is going away.
Right.
So you want to call forth, something that's more egalitarian, and we can use technology to be our whipping boy.
Absolutely.
Instead of the other way
Harmonic
around.
Technology. Yes.
So technology can serve our human needs, so we can get on to expansiveness, and everyone's their own little scientific inventor genius, right? We just have to honor and coddle that and allow people to, this is a big art project.
Well, right, and
Planet Earth is like an Andy Warhol factory,
Totally.
in my humble opinion, right? And so this is just
I love that.
this is just a big experiment. So free energy, gift economy, self-care education. When we know how to take care of our own real estate, and we keep our side of the street clean, naturally we want to keep our local environment around us clean, because we know we're connected to it. You're only healthy to the degree you're conscious. You're only conscious to the degree you're healthy. So we can never forget that. And so self-care education gets taught at the kindergarten level and on up, or at the elementary level and on up. Like, I got my kids sexual kung fu teachers as they become teenagers and sexually active.
Right, okay.
I got one of Montauk Chia's teachers to teach them Taoism about their genitalia at 10 and 14 years old.
That's awesome. Wow.
So
That's so progressive. Okay,
it's consciousness. It's knowledge. Knowledge is power. Knowledge
these star
applied.
children coming in are just going to be so dialed.
My kids are going to be on.
And they know how to use the technology. They know how to use their bodies. The ones that have been really driven with their curiosity. Because look, when Troy and I grew up,
permaculture is my final one. And
okay. Well, I won't interrupt.
Food.
Go ahead.
Seed in the ground, and so we cultivate food. So permaculture, free energy, self-care education, and the gift economy are my 4 major solutions.
Boom.
Maybe build some infrastructure around that, but I think it will come organically as we...
Well, it will come organically, but there's problem solvers that'll get into the granular aspects of how those are achieved, right?
I don't think as an entrepreneur and training entrepreneurs for over 16 years, never fucking focus on the how. Fucking God takes care of the how when you're fucking clear.
Oh my God, this is challenging
tool.
me, because I go into
the mind is a tool.
I feel like
it's
got to
not challenging
see the
just
path.
for you. I've trained thousands of entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Everyone gets stuck on the how. Well, how? How are
Not
we going to
stuck
go from
on,
A
but
to B?
but what about in harmony with the how, to actually give specific asks so that manifestation can come in through a clear pathway, right?
Well, either get clear yourself and develop that, or attract someone else who has that clarity.
Okay, so hold up. Exactly. That's what I'm
But get
saying.
over it. Don't stay fucking stuck on it. Like, you should have that person in your life.
Okay.
If you need that solution, you should have them by the end of the day today.
Okay, well, let's call it in. Okay, like, in order for these 4 pillars to be achieved.
Don't call it in. Go out and fucking use some action and search it out.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That takes knowing the steps. There is somehow in what you're saying. I just want to be real with you, right? Because basically, yes. Do we all believe in these things? Does the world want what you're saying? Of course it does.
If you're present,
okay,
you don't need the how. It's going to show up in your fucking face.
Fine, but Troy, I hear you too. To some degree, in a total way I respect, bitching about the way the world is, and it hasn't changed just by speaking it. So maybe we need to give it more forum. We need to give it more details, and then people.
So how's that working out for you?
It's not working yet. That's why I'm trying to figure it out. And is it working for you?
What's it going to take for you? To make it work.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, and I'm
Why are you
humble
trying to figure it out?
Because
what's your dream?
My dream is that absolutely that we're living back in a efficient, harmonic, agrarian way.
You can't make a dream contingent on other people. You started out with were.
But we're supposed to be interdependent. We're supposed to. It's forcing us together.
These are too many head concepts.
Okay.
It's too much living in the head, and I see this a lot in the spiritual community. It's conceptualized, idealized idolism.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Make it practical. Put it down on paper. Break it down. First principles, maxims, axioms.
So, and this is
and
why
build backwards. Reverse engineer it from there. The fucking look. You gotta understand. The Faucis and the fucking Bill Gates and all these other motherfuckers that are doing this shit. They're using fucking the same principles, but with black magic. The formula for magic or alchemy is love, truth, and wisdom.
Truth. So are you saying we should
Truth
just...
is represented, not some fucking like heart-based fucking love and shit like that. No, it's based by looking in the fucking mirror. That's the truth. I am is the only truth on this fucking planet. Everything else is conjecture, opinion, hypothesis, marketing campaign, propaganda.
So is there what? But hold on, like you and I are gonna go over into this neighborhood where there's gas guzzling SUVs and a whole infrastructure that does not align with what you're speaking to.
And you're
Troy.
a part of that. So are you splitting yourself in the head and not aligning with yourself?
That's a good question. That's a good question. What about you? Like we're both
you got to
in
be
the
fully fucking integrated.
So am I calling in the quantum aspect of you that is in the realm of like
You're
this
thinking about it
fallen angel thing that I'm in?
Yeah, you're thinking you read too many fucking spiritual books.
I don't actually believe that, but
you're in your head.
Yeah, because the head's fun sometimes.
Yeah, but the head's a fucking trap. The head's a fucking trap. Drop into your heart, bro. That's your fucking statement. Drop into your heart. The heart always knows. Use the mind as a tool. What the fuck does the heart want?
Yeah.
Then you program the mind with what the fucking heart wants.
Okay.
And stop talking about what you don't want.
Okay, I hear
I mean, every spiritual teacher has said this before me. This is nothing new. Abraham Hicks or...
Well, right, and then you have these spiritual teachers sitting in mountain caves in India, but the world's still how it is. So, like, I think there's some dance with the masculine and the feminine energy.
They've found peace, right? And that's the ultimate. If we all just found that level of peace.
Right, and so is the world perfect already? And just
correct.
As soon as you accept peacefully what it is.
This is the big cosmic joke, as it says in the Vedic scriptures. This is just God playing God, waking up from the LSD trip that he forgot he took back in
Yeah, totally. Do you ever feel that? I feel that some way. Yeah, and some days I feel it.
1652 or whatever. Fucking. The bottom line is, yeah, we're all God. This is all love, and it's all happening. So then that's one spiritual concept. But I like to make sport out of my existence on this fucking planet.
So this is the solutionary drive and anguish and energy that is power that is pumping through Troy's veins, your veins, our veins.
We live in a dualistic society. There's two forces, yin and yang. If you don't make peace with them and find balance within yourself, you're both savage and saint. Right? Your curse is your gift. You got cancer? My mentor, Paul Chek, likes to say, welcome your guru.
I love this. I love this.
Don't play the victim. Victim consciousness is over with.
Totally agree.
And they want to play you at your best weakness. That's why cancel culture, BLM, Antifa, communism, all that shit's being propagated because it weakens the human spirit. People want to say, you know, I'm all about divine masculine, sacred masculine, do men's work and all that shit. Look, my message to everyone else out there is be your fucking self.
Be your fucking self.
Be yourself unapologetically. Okay. Turn yourself on fucking as high as you can fucking get. People are full of ideas. That don't mean the fucking ideas are gonna fucking serve you and your long-term interests. We need clean air, water, and soil to survive from where we're at right now.
Or do we? Is that a concept, a limiting concept we thrust upon ourselves, and we could actually, if this is true what you're saying, actually not need it?
You ever heard of 3 Mile Island?
Not need it.
You ever heard of Love Canal in New York City?
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
They built over nuclear waste.
Okay.
So, yeah, you might need a clean environment to live if you don't want cancer.
Right, but I'm just saying, well, that's your mind telling you that, right? Was that your heart or your mind?
Well,
right
if
now?
we're going to start to subjugate third dimensional reality
there we go. Let's
with
get to
philosophy.
But that's what you're doing in this same conversation, brother. And I feel
No, alchemy has always been played in the third dimension. That was what the Neoplatonic philosophy is, what the learned people learned before the industrial age school system. So
what I hear between the lines of everything you're saying is like, stop thinking about it and just ask with your heart what you want in the world.
That's not between the lines. It's straight up.
Okay, so straight up, I'm going to be straight up with you.
Yeah.
We're not going to get cancer if we decide that's not an element. We don't get hungry if that's not an element we don't want. Right? Could you not just manifest the thing where you don't need to eat all this shit? Where you don't get cold at night?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the quantum leap.
I mean, I do like 900 calories a day.
How about 0? How about just sunlight?
Well, I do that for the majority of the day.
Okay. So I'm just saying, like...
But even that's outside the fucking norm.
Of course that's outside the norm. I think it's amazing. And I'm just illustrating...
And I'm fucking ripped to the bone.
Yeah.
Strong as an ox. Right?
Yeah, we both got this, man.
Right, but so that obliterates people's idea of food and eating right there. Because I get my nutrition from the sunlight. I get my nutrition from the oxygen that I breathe. I get my nutrition from the visuals that I put around myself that feed my soul. And vibrationally, they feed my body too.
Right, and so I think in an ancient way, things like eating food, like the fact that we do need to be in relationship with the plants and the animals to eat them and them, us, like what was the origin, true divine nature of that? Maybe it was like a consensual thing where we exchange consciousness when we eat something.
These are all highfalutin ideas.
I love them though.
And they're great, but let me tell you, if the shipping continues to be fucked up and the trucking stops and the corporations with the vaccinations, these guys aren't coming to work, blah, 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 blah.
That's your mind, isn't it?
Your food's not going to get fucking delivered to Whole Foods. And you can talk all the shit you want, Lion but where'd you buy your food that you're here on your camping trip with?
I'm agreeing with you.
Where did you buy your food?
I bought it at Whole Foods or I bought it whatever, fucking Amazon. So
if that stops, all these ideas, watch out for the cactuses.
I'm watching the cactus. Well, we got cactuses up in here. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
And so if all that stops, who the fuck are you now? Your ideas, you're not going to have the time to ruminate on your ideas. Do you know what it takes to source water in this environment? Do you know what it takes to source food in this environment? Do you know what it takes to keep your body warm? You think you want to fast? This place will fucking shiver you to death.
Totally. So back to where we started, where I felt, and I might be wrong, and
you're a biological animal. Honor that first and foremost.
Okay. So then, like,
and you are not an avatar yet. So if you can't access breatharianism and thrivedness from that,
okay,
then let's not waste our fucking present moments fucking philosophizing about what could.
Okay, true.
You know, let's deal with the brass tacks right now, because people need organic food. True. People are obese. People are sick. People are injected with poisons. They got, testing swabs going up into their cranium, affecting the blood-brain barrier.
Right, we've got poison in the foods, we got poison in the water.
Book of Revelations says
yes.
The number of the beast. This is being marked in through DARPA, through technology. It's all available. This is what's happening on planet Earth.
And Brother Troy's super well read. Like if you go back through all of his videos and literature, like he really has studied at a very deep level, not just nutrition, but a lot about the infrastructure of the world. So both of us in this conversation are going to a sort of like, we just touched on a very non-dualistic perspective, but to bring it back into a little bit of duality.
We're in the third dimension,
which is dualistic, right? Right, it is. That's what I'm saying, is we're going to go back to duality real quick. And like,
all the ancient sages have said, walk the middle path.
Yeah.
All knowledge is knowledge of self. So it's all an inside job.
The middle. So it's like
you're going to have to balance your own feminine and masculine inhalation, exhalation, catabolic, anabolic, up, down, black, white. You're going to have to balance that with inside of yourself. That is the spiritual path.
Just breathing that in for a second.
We might want to do a mic drop there.
What do you think? Is that a mic drop? Troy Casey, Lionija, flowing in Arizona, about to drop the mic phone, yeah. It's been deep, it's been present, not sleeping, awake. Out in the sun, we bake these ideas into something with form, bend the norm, because the freedom is inside you, inside we, I, we, you, me. So I'm really grateful to be here and feeling free with this brother that is embodying free and inviting that portal within you. There's so much we could say in this sort of dualistic and non-dualistic perspective. At the end of the day, it's the way we relate. It's the way we feel. You can spend your life like ruminating on hate, on love, on all these things. It could feel great or fucking shitty. So
even highfalutin ideas. Let's get right back down to brass tacks. What do we need? We need food. We need water. We need shelter.
So yeah, like
shelter and fire,
which
is represented with technology right now.
Okay, right.
Those are the 4 human needs. Everything else is.
I love Troy's like high level power. I'm gonna do my gift right now, or what it feels to be my gift.
Maxims, reverse engineer.
Yeah, reverse engineer. So like, if we were to get what I imagine when we talk about shelter, I want things built from hemp nanofiber, graphene. It's like a filament of fiber that is like a spider silk, but 200 times stronger than steel. We can make it with hemp. Done. things.
100%.
Yeah, okay,
Like this shouldn't even be a question.
no, it's not
Like,
even
we
a
shouldn't
question.
even have to be activists to usher in this type of
No,
technology.
like fuck plastics. We're done with that. Let's leap to the next level. Like,
Well, and let's have a little gratitude for plastic and oil.
no, we don't. Okay,
Right? Hey, fuck.
Totally.
I've been around this world 15 times.
Right.
Thank you for the
Thank you,
Rockefellers, you
thank you.
motherfucking monopoly.
you built the
ass
infrastructure for this
motherfucker.
experience, and now we get to innovate beyond it. We get to make something so irresistibly dope that it's like.
And thanks for creating the
free
debt
market
slave
of-
economy. I've been able to move through my own poverty consciousness
Yeah.
and that level
Here we
of
go,
spiritual
truth.
development.
Truth.
Because I've been. How do you wake up a human? You oppress them. It's like the shoot of grass on the concrete.
Yep,
right?
yep,
It's
yep,
gonna
yep.
come through the concrete. The human spirit. You can't kill the human spirit, baby. You can try like hell, like we're seeing right now with the pandemic, but it ain't gonna never happen. And there's only
Right.
You know, what does the Bible say? 144,000. Only a few people make it through the eye of the needle. So the question is are you that human being? Because life's a choice, baby.
Life's a choice, and that's where, you know, part of that is to use your voice, use your intuition, get down with intuition, right? That's what I'm trying to do. And you know what, like, I'm learning here a lot. I'm really reconsidering the way that I come at things from the mind, because I do, man. I'm an inventor. You can look up my patents. I've done a
You
lot.
are a heart-based wisdom guy. Yeah, I would focus on, if you're an inventor, I'd focus on your inventions. People are gonna have tons of fucking ideas. Let me wrestle with those fuckers.
Yo.
Right? Let me pop their consciousness. You go in the lab and do your magic.
Right, we need an eco village with a lab, and also a place to jump in the water in the morning and like sing and be embodied. It's not just one thing. And yeah, fuck, Troy, if that could be a reality, I would be in so much joy. I'd be so stoked.
It's not if it could.
Okay, well, let's do that.
We are creating.
Let's just create it. This is where, like, can you see these cities of lights?
I am creating. I am, I can, I have, I choose, I will. This is the alchemical language. I am, I can, I have, I choose, I will, I love, I create. You execute. Are you guys climbing that thing right there?
Yeah, it's just single pitch. Like, so it's not like the whole all the way to the top.
Yeah,
The
so
one
like,
that looks like a
having
cave
been a
from the
startup
road, this thing?
entrepreneur and all these things in the past, like, fuck the whole business thing. If the cascading impact of what we're doing is harming nature, is harming people's minds and hearts, e-commerce, etc., like, yes, thank you for this entire matrix. And we get to come into God consciousness, creator consciousness, and design something new. We're in a world of blockchain and Spotify and little decentralized platforms, so anyone can publish anything. We live in the most decentralized time in history. We live in the most empowered time to create. So we can go from idea to manifestation with a freaking Kickstarter, and millions of dollars later, there it is.
I got my next appointment.
All right, yo, brother Troy, this brother right here, just like,
God bless everybody out there in cyberspace.
oh, God bless you, Troy. And this is just the beginning. Something magical is emerging in Sedona. Check out the Instagram flow that we
always the
did
beginning.
before this. It's always the beginning. That was what led to this. So, man, deep gratitude to you, Troy, when you see this in the future and in the present moment.
I love you,
I
brother.
love you
are
too.
the best.
Deep respect. Deep respect. Troy Casey riding off on his futuristic scooter right now, his bike. Yeah, here he goes. Okay, concluding thoughts, because Troy, I love you, and you talk a lot, and I love that. So do I. But it feels good to just like leave the space out of respect for you to just like go hard on these pillars that you see as a solutionary. I'm gonna take a moment. I'll be as brief as I can with all of you who are here. First of all, just to be in gratitude. Like Troy said, like he can just pierce through with that intensity, and just, you know, bring it to that like core of this fierce manifester, creator. No bullshit, no mind. I go into my mind sometimes, and I feel like there's a beauty to that. There's a beauty to the mind too. So for me, I hear something like the pillars he's talking about, like with energy or with like this cascading impact. And I imagine that when you go to the store, while we're in this transitional period out of the sort of, like he said, central banking, Rockefeller, et cetera, consciousness where we drive SUVs, we go to supermarkets, all that stuff that is here and now and doesn't go away just because we meditate on a mountain. one night and have a powerful peak experience with ayahuasca. It's still here. Anyone else like have that moment where you're like, fuck, I thought we like took care of it in that really potent visionary space, right? But it keeps coming back. So that's like, I kind of call this like duality, non-duality flux. Brother, what's your name, by the way?
Barbaro.
What is it?
Barbaro.
Barbaro.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Barbaro here, just like flowing in the space,
Always, man.
holding a pillar of energy.
Flow's life, man.
It is. Much love. See ya. And you know, I guess to pick up on that train right there is just, you know, all this stuff that is around us that holds form. Our collective consciousness seems to be saturated with the expectation that we wake up and it's still here. It's still buried in our subconscious. It's buried in your subconscious, right? Because from the perspective, the non-duality perspective, and for those who don't know what that means, that's just like all of this is one being. It's all you creating this right now. Even looking at this cell phone or screen, you're creating this. I am an aspect of you. That's non-duality. This is all, and it's kind of trippy, right? You feel it when you're in a, you know, plant medicine spaces, but it can be completely just from breath work or just presence. So hold that for a moment. The whole room is you. Everything, you know, your grandma is you. Like the people outside shopping at Walmart are you. Aspects of you. God, spirit, all dwelling as one being. So from that perspective, you got to take responsibility that somewhere in the subconscious of all conscious, which is you made this and you wanted it this way. Why would you want it this way? And I ask myself this from this place, like, oh, I'd love to change all this. I'd love for the enslavement to go away, the brutality to go away, the murder, the terror. Like, I don't even, there's nothing about those spaces that I care for. I'm like, fuck that shit. Like, let's burn it but see, if I come with anguish, I find that it can almost reverberate. Like, fights start when one person gets angry and the response comes from another anguished intensity, at least in my experience. So I'm just saying there's this interesting relationship in non-duality with this like pesky thing that keeps coming back, which is this very barbaric and intense and fucked up system which penetrates the earth, drops bombs on children, like puts livestock in pens and treats them terribly. Like, you know, there's a Holocaust happening in the animal population all the time. For us to go to the supermarket and out of sight, out of mind, pick up a plastic thing with a bunch of meat in it or whatever. You know, it's enslavement at a deep level. And when we wake up to the respect, how good it feels to respect everything. That's my hope, is that through, you know, there is a path forward that we're all gonna evolve into, where we do respect this planet, we do respect each other. And, you know, I guess I don't want to go on here longer than that. Maybe it is time to drop the mic soon, but yeah. And remember to come from the heart. You can see it in the face and the body when you're coming from the heart or the mind, right? You can see it in the eyes. So Angel Soul fam watching this here with Troy and I, like, man, I feel the depth of how important it is for us to be in ceremony together. And I don't mean that like plant medicine. I mean it like in a circle, in holding this frequency of love and the embodiment of actually living on this earth in a way that is in harmony with nature. Creating an example that we broadcast just like this all over the world. What if we use social media that way? What if we use these broadcast systems that way to show the world what is possible? To live, like I said, with graphene nanofiber tree houses that can heat up, cool down, suits that are transparent, and we can, have cold fusion like Troy said, and actually launch, an entire platform where we raise what? $1 billion, $2 billion? That's a drop in the bucket. When you look at the trillions spent on war, on machines that tear souls apart all over the place, we can do something better. So I wish to lay out under what I'm going to follow this up with, I think, is like under the 4 pillars that this brother just laid out, like how I would get there. And I'd love to see a platform, look, we have a Facebook, we have an Instagram. What about a platform for visions? Visions of a healed world, so we can collaboratively, in a crowdsourced way, come at different processes to get there. And let's, like Reddit style, like thumbs up, thumbs down, different ones, till the best ideas float to the surface. We need to get solutionary, soul fam. Again, saying this from the non-dualistic standpoint, where I need to do something outside of myself to achieve the result of a harmonic world. So I'm going into non-duality. So this is the thing, non-duality, duality, flux. And a brother Seb actually introduced this idea to me, but the idea I had, but he gave it a good name. We have had this idea. Any idea that I'm flowing came from collective consciousness anyway. I don't own any of this stuff. Neither do you. We are Gaia birthing itself into something brighter. So if we had a place for visions to be explored and actually, is this still recording? Yeah, wow, it is. God, Sedona is so gorgeous. This place is so beautiful. Look at this huge, beautiful hill here. And they're everywhere, these beautiful rocks. I think that we need a system that, like right now we're on the monetary system. Corporations pretty much run the world. I think we need a system for essentially for voting to be completely while we still are on cell phones and all that. We're talking non-dualistically here. Right now we need to be able to vote so that our government, we aren't electing some asshole officials that basically are beholden to corporations for 4-year, 6-year, 2-year terms where we don't get to pivot their decisions in between. I'm talking real-time governance from the people. And I do think blockchain-based, super secure. Look, I come from a long background in technology, worked for Amazon, worked for the telecom industry, built a startup in the augmented reality space. I know this stuff well. We're highly capable right now of building a system where voting is real time. So we can veto things that are not in the community's interest, so that it's not like we're getting what's in the corporation's interest, which keeps its tendrils so tight in our society because they've got our leaders, our politicians under lock and key. Citizens United, come on, we know this has all been happening and getting worse and worse and worse. Got lobbies from the pharmaceutical industry are astronomical. Look at what the Koch brothers do. Look at all that. So first of all, we need to re-empower citizens around the world, and this is not a new thing. Look at, I believe Sweden, a few other countries, and I know Africa is launching forward with the use of this type of thing. Look at what Cardano's doing. Look at a lot of these like new waves of technology coming through. They're going to empower us to have direct democracy, or liquid democracy is another term for it. That's a pillar that I believe in, that gets us to the pillars that Troy is talking about. Because I think that you do need to empower people to govern themselves. If we're going to call ourselves a democracy, or even a republic for that matter, then it needs to actually start behaving like one. So we need a proper system that is not from the horse and buggy days. If y'alls are liking and disliking 100 photos a day on Facebook or YouTube or BitChute or whatever, if you're watching this video, you can vote on the things that matter. Thumbs up, thumbs down, write a comment. Oh, let's see what my other friends that I trust have decided to say about this particular bill, this particular initiative. Let me propose an initiative, and enough people thumbs it up, it becomes a real thing. Why not? Let's leverage our innovators that are all over the place. Are the best innovators in the world these dead ass politicians that we see on the news? Fuck, dude, come on. I know so many incredible people, and I look at the presidents, the Congress people, and I'm not that impressed. Are you? I mean, honestly, let's crowdsource this shit. On the other side of it, when he talks about, please refer back to this amazing flow. We did it on Instagram just today. It's October 19th, 2021. And we went down this trail and talked about, the impact of when you go to the supermarket, gas guzzling cars, all these things, right? And, or you go to the store and you could buy this energy drink or that one. Let's just use an example. Wouldn't you like to know that this drink has wouldn't you like to, like, first of all, be able to control your health by saying black out everything on the shelves that isn't by these standards, by these ethics, black out everything on the shelves, like in augmented reality or whatever. We have all this technology, right, that isn't in support of the environment, that does something, you know, at the corporate level that is, you know, not in agreement with my beliefs. Wouldn't you like to know that, so you can quickly and efficiently move through the world voting with your energy or dollar or whatever the coin may be, or method of exchange? Wouldn't you like to know how you're supporting or you know, supporting good things or supporting bad things that are totally unaligned? That's one step, right? Is just to create systems that make it efficient for people to really understand where they're devoting their energy. That's another thing I think about a lot. We have huge innovation. Like, I think people living in community is so healthy, and I think just being around more love, right? Like making it easy to connect to the people you align with. We have things like Match.com or eHarmony or blah 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 for dating. I want something like that to connect with other innovators. I want something like that to connect to other people that I align with on a soul level, not to like date them and run down that path, but really just as, you know, so we can innovate together, be visionaries together. Maybe these things already exist. I just want to see them used more. Facebook, Instagram, come on. Like, your ethics fucking suck. I'm sick of it. YouTube, stop censoring people. That's totally wrong. That's like that feels like some like overprotective father or mother, like putting their kids in a little like cell. You know, like, let us decide if something's biased or not. Let us decide if it's not some, you know, if it's not some like completely like absolute violent content, etc., like, or something that doesn't belong in front of children's eyes. Like, don't censor information. Like, how is this okay? We need uncensored platforms. These corporations have fucked up royally, and they're gonna lose. They're gonna be the dead MySpaces because of it. Absolutely. And I'm sure that, I'm even saying that, you know, the algorithm is gonna probably suppress this content a little bit. You're suppressing people. The more you try to suppress people, like, what happened to like actually being in community with the customers you serve? Google, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Who do you care about? Facebook and YouTube and Google employees. Look, form a tech union. We need a tech union that is upholding ethics. Tech ethics union, because tech runs the world right now. This is a technocracy. You have to see that. And they're the ones really behind the scenes, as well as Big Pharma and as well as the military industrial complex, which generates insane amounts of money. So there's a lot of power, and they won't let go easy. But guess what? They lean on the backs of good people. I worked at Amazon for 7 years. You know, it was a real, like, I learned so much there. And actually, I think that the leadership in their hearts has some good, I've seen some really good things. Like, I've met Jeff Bezos, I've met those people. And so I feel like this is the time, if you're a leader in tech, to stand up for the truth, for compassion, and for respect of individuals that are your customers and the world. You're setting a precedent where privacy is no longer protected, where you are like a greedy, vile golem, like, my precious, like, you are going after the data like a scary demon. You're going after that in people, and you're not being honest about what you're doing. And you know this. I worked at these corporations. I know. Behind the scenes, yes, okay, I get it, but it's fiduciary duty. I'm locked. Like, I'm handcuffed to my fiduciary responsibilities, and therefore it absolves me of the ethical havoc I am wreaking on the world. Like, that is what's really happening. No, that you don't get that excuse if you want to go through this spiritual initiation that's coming to you, whether you like it or not. It's coming to your front door. It's already here. So step the fuck up. Step up with love. I don't mean this to be judgmental, because I've done those things. Like, I know that I'm very, like, I've been, we have to have compassion that we're in the process, but don't wait. Don't do that. Like, step up. It feels good. You will be met, I promise and guarantee, you will be met with more strength of a real community around you that is, and you'll feel good knowing that you're not sending this strange vibration into the world that takes us further from spirit, from love, from community. It's time to live in, build heaven on earth, or build hell on earth. Are you building hell on earth, or are you building heaven on earth? You might be like contributing to one or the other in subtle ways, maybe both at the same time. I'm just saying, go all in. Go all in on heaven on earth. Let's do this. And all these limiting factors, all these corporations that are so scared of, they're just clutching to their purse at the expense of good people. Death by 1,000 cuts all around us because of these forces of corporation. On an infrastructure level, first of all, as a person, man, step up, find your people. It's time. As a larger infrastructure solution, I would say, we need not just a financial fiduciary duty, we need a social wellness duty. We need an environmental wellness duty. And the way we get there is by creating new currencies that represent and trace through, because we have this technology and surveillance, we actually can trace the impacts of every product that's on the shelves. We can literally slice and dice and understand how every corporation is having ripples. We can trace that. And we have artificial intelligence algorithms to trace that. I worked with artificial intelligence and cloud computing for years. We're so ready for a world that is in harmony with nature, in harmony with wellness. And that don't suppress naturopathic medicine. Come on, what is that censorship? That is a company making a pharmaceutical world making trillions of dollars, billions and billions and trillions of dollars off of something and not letting go. Let the fuck go or evolve. Yes, you might have to lose some money. You may have to find new revenue streams through things that are actually resonant and bioharmonic, but why wouldn't you want to do that? Do you want to die with your legacy being that you just clutched your purse at the expense of life? Yeah, just gonna leave that with you to feel into. So we do need these systems that essentially trace the downstream impacts of all products, all corporations, etc., so that when they're in the boardroom, the dollars are not the only thing they're talking about. They're talking about the social impact credits. They're talking about the ecological impact credits. And that eventually people will just be in their hearts and not need these things, perhaps. That's a long distant thing, but to be real non-dualistic and meat and potatoes in the ground kind of thing, grounded about this, we do need systems. Until we can't just rely on good intentions. That was one thing I learned at Amazon. That was one of their core principles as an employee, is don't rely on good intentions, build good systems so that those intentions are ensured. We still rolling? Wow, we are 43 minutes. Okay, I'll try to wrap this up. I know this is going long, but yo, brother Troy, you really spun up my mind and heart. You spun up my heart and my fire more than anything. And I love how loud that brother lives. And I'm just, all this is, this is spinning from the galaxy that you just spun up in me this morning. So I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, respect to brother Troy, man. He's living so, that's what we need. Do you see the energy in Troy's face when he speaks? You work at Google, you work at Facebook, you work in the government, you work at NASA, you work at, Tesla, you work at some big pharma company, you work at Monsanto. Imagine just being a beast and a fierce agent, a Jedi for positive change like Troy is stepping into with that level of intensity. You might ruffle some feathers, but what the fuck, that's going to be a beautiful adventure, and you will know in your heart that you are doing something true to the future generations, your children's children's children. And on a spiritual level, that is you. That is so important. Because it's kind of do or die time, And maybe it always was, but it certainly is right now. So, yeah, I could keep going into this. I know, and I love what Troy said about education. I'm so stoked about the fact that right now, because of the internet, thank you, internet, first of all, the uncensored internet, for making it possible for curious minds and children to navigate, explore, find the things that interest them, become super masters of it. Like if you're curious, if you're alive and you're curious right now, you can learn anything. You can go on YouTube and learn how to do anything. That wasn't around when I was a kid. What would us elders do with that? Had we been like, 13 years old, curious about more, and see some of the kids are getting sucked into apathy. They're just like playing some game on their phone and like zombied out. Not talking about those kids. And I pray for those kids that they wake up into the empowerment that is possible for them. That's why we need good content getting to the kids, not this like tired, lazy ass education system. And I know I shouldn't say that. There are good people in a lazy ass education system, but I'm just talking about the system. Like we could do way better. E-learning, that's all stepping up. But we do need people need to be in touch with the soil. Like people need to really get back to what it means to be alive. So we need to balance this like hyper technologization with, I believe, with real connection to nature. Like that was a beautiful thing before cell phones. We were like down by the water just like throwing rocks and making up games. Like that's how I grew up. It wasn't all through pixels. So like, as this technology evolves, as we get more into like light field technology and holographic, like new ways of displaying content, I think it's going to be more integrated with the world, more augmented reality, that sort of a thing. And on the other hand, from a non-dualistic perspective, we might just become more telepathic, especially since we're all separated right now in this time of lockdown more than we were before. Not here in Sedona. These people are connected. It's like it never had. They're just kind of doing this to the whole thing, which is pretty rad for me. I know that might trigger some people, but man, I'm feeling this. Like I feel alive here. Nobody's sick. And look, coronavirus is a thing, but like God, all you got to do, like there are real awesome naturopathic solutions that most people are knocking. Most people, I'm not saying everyone, because I got it twice and it was fucking bad because I didn't know what to do. Like I didn't know about ivermectin. I didn't know about quercetin and combining that with zinc and everything like that. But the people that understand what they're doing now are like knocking this thing out. So, how long are we going to go without like really making this heaven on earth? Like I honestly think you got to look and see that there's a good chance that corporations that are really in command of this country are up to something. Okay? Like they've been something that is not in the highest good of the people because they haven't been that way. Why do we have McDonald's? Look, how many people die every year from McDonald's over time, right? How many people die a year from allopathic medicine that is basically poisoning their bodies? And we find out later that behind the scenes, the R&D team knew the side effects were terrible and released it anyway because the cost of the lawsuits would be less than the amount of profit they'd generate. This stuff happens all the time in the name of fiduciary duty or financial duty. Those boardrooms need to fucking wake up. And in the meantime, we need to wake up and see that, like, you can't trust it all. Like, I'm not going to let my whole life go by wearing masks and, like, not connecting with people, even if I have a risk, a 0.00000, whatever it is, percent risk of dying. There's a chance of dying from anything when it's your time. I just think this is like a brilliant mechanism right now to keep us all separated. And I'm not saying like, I'm not like a deny. I think that there is a positive version of a vaccine, and then there's like, what else is in those vaccines? I want like deep dives, like microscopy, like clinical trials, all the things. Like if we're gonna do that stuff, dude, like you can't censor people trying to look into it because that's not science. That is religion. That is when you're forcing one belief down people's throats and shutting down everything else. When they used to it's like lynching people. That's what's happening right now. Open your eyes. That's what's happening. I invite you to open your eyes, and maybe they already are open, and I honor if your perspective is different than mine because that's the spice of life. And so I love you anyway. I do. Nothing in this heart but love. Nothing in this heart but love. Truly. Just getting worked up because I feel so grateful to be here. Like, man, Troy, you live in a magical wonderland. This place And it's part of the reason I think people are so vital here and they're not sick, is that, you know, they're living in deep connection. I think it's easy to forget after a few years what you forgot. You can forget how crucial and vital it is to be among people in a really deep way. And people gave that up. And they didn't have power. Look, if we had that voting system, a blockchain, real time, boom, one tap of the phone, like there could have been entire parts of the country that said, nah, we don't want to do the lockdown thing. We want to actually all go through and get COVID or whatever together, get this thing together. And we're going to have all of the naturopathic wellness healers ready to go to solve it all at once. Like, I'm not saying that's necessarily the best plan, but it could be a good plan, actually. I mean, it's what I would do. Because I'm not high risk. I'm a strong, healthy, you know, young man. And it's funny, I guess I'm middle-aged now. Not really. I'm not going to say middle-aged because I think we're going to live to like 150. I think we are. I think so much is evolving now with like, that's a whole nother thing, self-sovereign identity I get into. I was going to say, like, with all the things we can do, like 3D printing organs now, and like, you know, we're going to get into this strange land of genetic modification and how humans might do that. But on another level, I think we're going to live into more healed spaces. This might be the time that this is, I'm going to call it in. If we want it, this is heaven on earth, and we can live much longer than we ever have. I think death is beautiful too. The angel of mortality shows us how a deep gratitude. I mean, you die every night when you go to sleep. You dissolve, you come back. Like, death is beautiful. This moment will never exist again. There's a death of a moment. But I do think that physical death will probably not happen until much later, so I'm not middle-aged. I'm probably like quarter-aged, to be honest. Which is pretty rad, isn't it? Isn't it rad that we live in a time where like anything's possible? And like what's crazy is, you think about the resources that are available to do epic things. If we took the $800 billion that the US government spends on military and shifted that, like, let's talk about what we could do with even $1 billion or 10 to create an example of like a thriving eco-topian city that really, you know, does like, let's put all the best. We should have like, you know, some like SpaceX. Remember when they did the SpaceX like prize, the X Prize? Let's have the X Prize with $10 billion from our government for the most brilliant innovators in the entire country to create a new colony within the United States, a new way. And like, let's all vote on it's because we need to save humanity. Like, we need to like reinvent humanity. Actually, let's do 10 of them. Let's try 10 different things. Closed loop, circular economy systems. What is that? We're talking about like what? Not even 1%, 2% of the entire budget of our military. I would say use 50%. Let's have a lot of these things. Let's try experimentally to do this right. Anyway, that's my feeling about it. And you know, I think, and who gets to live there and how we decide on those people. Like, we have, that's why we need to like, I think Elon Musk and other people are probably going to do this stuff. And they'll use, you know, he came to me in my dreams once, about to build a new country, and asked me like for input on the algorithm he was using to determine who would be like in that first wave entering to create the proper culture of innovation and heartful essence, which was cool. I don't know if it was you know, him neurolinking over to me or I just had the dream, but I do think it's something coming. Anyway, I'm going long here. I'm gonna let this go. Just end this with this Mama Sedona. I love you so much, Soul Fam, and I love you, Troy, for like, oh my God, that brother just like stepped in and like boosted and elevated me in a really deep way in what he, you know, he popped me on his channel, and I feel so great. I want to do that for others too one day. I know we're all rising with those of us that are here to channel our voice. And I love what you're doing, Troy. I know you're fierce, and I know you trigger people, and you even trigger me sometimes, but I fucking love you. And I love you being you. And that is the greatest message you could give to me or anyone that is like just diving deep into family and presence and being themselves, is like by being yourself, it gives permission for others to stand in that ferocity of self, that truth, that unapologetic and true self. And you've given me a lot of bravery today. So yeah, honoring the pillar that you hold for me as a brother and also a pillar in this community of Sedona. And behind the scenes, like anyone watching this, there is a real deep community happening here in Sedona. It's unlike anything I've experienced in the world. And I meet a lot of communities. Like, that's my role in this time, is as a weaver, and to go to the community, and to use film to show these places so that others can weave and see them. That's really what I want. That's really what I'm doing. I might be going off on visionary land, but really what it's about, I love catalyzing containers for places for people to come into community. But it's more than a festival. It's more like get down to like how we get solutionary about building. We're forming guilds now, like the guild of sacred finance, the guild of intentional community tools, and like helping matchmake people that are looking to build intentional communities, have land, whatever, boom, boom, boom. Let's let these people meet each other, inventory what their dreams are, put the ones with the similar dreams in the same circle so they can all connect and make it happen faster, and etc. Health and wellness and all these things, make these guilds. And it needs to be happening in every town. If we're really to do what wish to have, if we're really to manifest this, we have to actually take a step forward and not just complain about the way the world is. We got to form action-oriented and heart-oriented. We got to dance too. We got to play. We got to connect. We got to go deep on these conversations. I don't normally talk this fast, but I feel like that spin up from Troy's intensity. It's kind of fun to just embrace it for what it is right now. I'm excitable like this, so, and I think I hope you go into your day with excitement and ideas, and we get to connect. I hope I get to connect to you in person someday, whoever you are. Because can we do this for a second? I'm just gonna feel you from the future moment, watching this, looking back at this moment right now, right here at the Mystic Trailhead, here presently with you, wherever you are. I'm sending energy to you, just sending blessing to you, my gratitude for you tuning into yourself and to this visionary space, honoring your visions. I wish to hear your visions. Please, if we can, let's try to come together. Let's try to come together in this realm of the heart and the mind and embodiment, and live and breathe and broadcast and design a new way, the beauty way, the connected way, and let's take it into the future. Let's manifest together. Invite me to some event. I'm so open. Just reach out. Derek Lionesia Morrison here. It's an honor to meet you. Yeah. Blessings. Blue sky. Let's go.